It's Blake's Buzz Live. Buzz, 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 buzz. It's Blake's Buzz Live. Buzz, 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 buzz. It's Blake's Buzz Live. More, hate less, read comics. It's Blake's Buzz Live.
Buzz, buzz, babies.
Buzz, buzz, babies. It's Wednesday night. This is the 25th Blake's Buzz Live episode. I cannot believe I've been doing this for 25 something weeks. Feels like forever in a good way. I'm now a seasoned streamer, and I am here to take you on a wild ride of wonderful nerdiness and show y'all some cool comics that you should buy. I'm going to introduce my guests, and then we're just going to hit the ground running. We got some awesome talent in the house tonight. I'm so excited to talk to all of you. Thank you for joining. Rob Multari is here for the first time. I said his name right too, so that's pretty go me. Rob, how you doing tonight, bud?
Good. I can't complain. I mean, today's been a best first day launch for a campaign that I've had so far. I mean, it's breaking records already.
Yeah, we were talking about that in the green room. Fucking Rob and Mog are over here printing money for Snowpaw, which that's so cool. Like, I'm happy for you. And we're gonna get more into that. But yeah, it's I think there needs to be more werewolf media. Anyway,
I agree.
Like the vampires and zombies have had it good for decades, and
that's what I'm saying. I mean,
right? Werewolves are always like an added deal. Like, oh, there's also like it's a vampire movie and a werewolf side character.
Scratching at me, I got to fight it. Like if there's a vampire is the main character, no, fuck.
Yeah. Yeah,
and werewolves need to get in the light.
Even like I love What We Do in the Shadows, and it has werewolves too, but none of them are like the main character, and they show up every now and then.
Like a side joke.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm all about the I love dogs too, so I'm all about the canine creatures, and I'm happy that you're building up your audience and bringing them to the forefront. I'm just going to go around the room. No one paid me to go first or anything, even though Rob can afford it because his campaign's got going on 8K right now. But anyway, John Westhoff's next. John is here. I don't know if any of you have met John before. I've had him on the show about 35 times in the last week. I feel like it's just we just keep
fuzz babies. Welcome back to John's Jams,
it's
where we
John's
talk all things
Jams.
music and comics. I'm here with my co-host Blake. How you doing?
John's Jams is pretty good. That's damn. I need to change my name. Just go for a giant rebrand. That's how I'll go out onto TikTok is with John's Jams. And they'll be like, "Who is this guy?" Anyway, John, happy to have you back. Your campaign is also a werewolf campaign, which is looking pretty solid. We got Drumsticks of Doom issue number 2. Which is super metal, super hairy, and with gorgeous art. And just I love he's got some really cool werewolves too. But they're not. We haven't really seen who they are yet. That's kind of like a mystery that we're waiting to be solved, which I'm excited for. And then up next we got Mog Park, the insanely talented artist who does amazing covers on a lot of my favorite people's Kickstarters, and somehow Rob got you to do interiors for him. Like,
yeah,
how did he trick you into doing that? Because that's a lot more work.
He was pretending like he's Chris Hemsworth, and he said he'll give me the world, the whole shebang.
Did I promise I'd show my ass in the movie?
Pretty much, that's how you get it.
That's all right. So that you people that indie creators out there sweating trying to figure out how to find a great artist for your Kickstarter, just tell them Chris Hemsworth, and that's how you do it. I'm writing that down. I'm gonna take that to the bank. How you doing tonight, Mog? It's great to have you on the show.
Yes, it's a joke, Mrs. Multari, if you're watching this. You never did anything improper. Please, in fact, it's better if you don't watch this.
Oh yeah, here at Blake's Buzz, we try not to anger any wives, significant others, or partners. We don't need that kind of drama here.
You'll know when she comes in and I look over at the door. That's when I turn into a pumpkin.
Oh wow! And last but not least, we got Mr. Adam Rose. Adam is back on the show. Adam's not one of these Kickstarter people. He's just floating around in the direct market, sitting pretty on his throne of comics, living it up at Source Point Press. He's got an awesome series called Corollary that is coming up. The trade is coming out here in a week, or we think a week or so, and it collects the first 4 issues of a really awesome sci-fi comic with that art that's just to die for, and a pretty cool story to boot, which I'm a big fan of. And anyways, it's his second time on the show. Thanks for coming back. I don't know what you were thinking, but I appreciate you. How you doing tonight, sir?
I'm great. It's great to be back, man. I feel full circle, like the circle of life, and I'm just being raised above the mountain by you. And the face paint of the fruit juices are dripping down my forehead. I love it.
It is. Well, yeah, it is funny because you came on when it launched, when issue 1 launched, and then and now the trade's out.
Yeah, no, it's been a wild ride. It's been fun. I mean, it's been great reception for it, and I'm excited. The trade itself, like, that was a whole other just ball of wax, like, as far as just the building of that and the bonus materials and all. So it's officially should be out by next week, and then at Amazon and all that stuff later too, which makes it hopefully even easier to grab than just going to local comics shops, which I, of course, first and foremost always support. But I'm just saying, down the road here, it'll also be in the brick and mortar bigger places too.
Yeah, no, yeah, it definitely helps. And I think everybody knows I buy shit off Amazon, but I try to, like, I mail order a lot of stuff too, like variants and some trades and stuff when I can. And also and that doesn't help shops at all, but it helps you guys. When you guys have your own shops, I try and buy from your shops too. Like John, I've bought some stuff off the Part-Time Comics website, and just so everybody knows, if you ever do that, he ships wonderfully and quickly, and sometimes throws like stickers and neat things in there. A dead mouse. I think that was just for me. It was weird. I don't know, but no, it's great. Like anyways, check out his shop. He's got some dope comics. So real quick, before we dive into everybody's stuff, we have a sponsor for tonight's show, and that sponsor is a book I believe in that's currently live on Kickstarter right now. Monster Matador Volume 1 is live, and Stephen Prince is the creator of that. Monster Matador is a delightfully demented kaiju throwdown that follows Matador Ramon Alejandro Estevez Guerrero as he travels a post-apocalyptic future to fight monsters and make a better world for his daughter. It's written by Stephen Prince, drawn by Ringo Award nominee Fabio Alves, and colored by Alex Zeef. Monster Matador has funded 4 Kickstarters thanks to backers and fans, and has become an indie comic hit. Thank you so much, Stephen. Thank you for the dead, slaughtered kaiju and this beautiful, sexy man with a sword who just fights giant monsters and makes our world a safer place. This comic's fucking sick, and you all need to check it out. It's a very cool book, and it's like I said, it's for the first time collected in Volume 1, live on Kickstarter. Definitely check that out. I will post the little baby link for you so that everybody knows where to find it. It's a case-sensitive link, so remember to capitalize that T, that M, and both those M's. bit.ly/themonstermatador. Go check that out. Again, thanks for sponsoring this episode of Blake's Buzz Live. We appreciate you. And now that all that corporate bullshit's taken care of. Sorry.
Hey, before we move on from the Monster Matador, a little fun fact: Steven and I are doing a crossover print. That if you're backing both of us, you get a 5x7 print illustrated by Carlos Herrera.
Ooh,
nice.
We can talk about that once we go to the campaign page. I'll show that down there.
Nice. Small world. What a small Kickstarter world.
It really is, isn't it?
Which is crazy. Like, because I feel like in the last week, so many people have launched Kickstarters. Yesterday was crazy. Like 1 million people launched campaigns yesterday. It's mind-boggling. And I kept telling myself that I couldn't back all of them. And what did I keep doing? I kept backing them. And now I'm gonna have to sell feet pics online or something. I don't know I'm gonna pay for this shit, but I'll figure it out. Anyways, so yeah, we've got some sick comics to talk about, and I know some people can't stay as late. So I'm gonna start with Rob and Mog, and we're gonna talk about your werewolf comic. Let me get this pulled up here. We're gonna talk about Snowpaw, which is if you guys don't know about Snowpaw, it's about to be your new favorite comic because the art is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And it's spinning out of this werewolf world that Rob has invented. And I could keep babbling about it because I love it. It's fun and I'm excited for this second issue. But Rob, tell us, in this is your baby, and why should we back it other than Mog's crazy art that just like you can't say no to those pages.
No.
Well, if you like stories about strong female leads, supernatural beings, fantasy creatures like werewolves, demons, fairies, dwarves, warlocks, elves, even more, Snowpaw is a series for you. In the 19th century Scotland, a fierce heroine with an adventurous spirit doesn't give in to the social expectations of her time. She finds out that she's born a werewolf and has to navigate through those muddy waters. And open to the first time, the fantasy creatures, her eyes are open. And, it just a lot of amazing things happen throughout this series. It takes place, like I said, in the 19th century Scotland, which is 200 years prior to Nightwolf, which is my original series with werewolves, where she is a Nightwolf's mentor. And so this is her story, and there's so much that I've opened up my world to in this series. And Mog has been able to capture, the images just gorgeously. And our colorist Bruna, just makes them pop out of the page. I couldn't be more excited to be working with these talented artists on this series.
Yeah, you got some crazy variants that are just great. And I see the I can't think of the artist from White Ash's name, and also Rio. You got a Rio Burton cover.
Rio,
too.
yeah. So yeah, we have Rio. We have Kyle Roberts. We have Chris Williams. We have sorry.
you can't think of them either. You got so many.
Corolla, Brunelli, she's also does one. We have Kaylin Smith. So many great artists working on this. Megan Alford. She's a friend of mine from Pittsburgh. This is her first cover debut as well. Many great artists working with this. But but really the core team. Just really make this book something special.
Yeah, it is, and we're about to check out these Mog interiors, which are just absolutely gorgeous. Funny Figs, thanks for popping in the chat. It's the werewolf renaissance indeed, baby. Rob's making them cool again. He's doing it. He's bringing them back into the forefront. What's up, Bearded? Oh man, Adam, you were on his show, right? Apparently.
On whose? Oh yeah, yes I was. Oh yeah, we had a great chat about stacking comics and much more.
He's Bearded's good people. But yeah, so these interiors are just amazing. Like and the colors and everything. I love this. I love how we when we first see our protagonist here, who just hunts a fucking deer with her bare hands. She doesn't even know she's a wolf yet. She's like crawling around in the tall grass.
Natural instincts. I wanted to show that like there, the instinct is there. She's not aware of it, but she's a farm girl in the 19th century. So, she's basically, just strong, bullheaded as it is. And, Scott to boot. You know, so it's just showing that like there's something there that she doesn't know about that, you know, we don't know about quite yet. You know, it just, I wanted to show that animal instinct in this girl, you know, this young girl, you know, that also showing that she's not, you know, normal of that time period. You know, usually they're very, you know, submissive to the males, but you know, she's not. She is like, nah, don't give me that. You know, and with Bruna's colors, I'd have to say I'm very proud of her because she is a Ringo nominee for this year for best colorist for Snowpaw #1.
Cool.
You know, so hopefully she can bring that that title home.
Yeah, there's some there's some tight competition in the Ringo Awards this year. I'm actually, I was kind of bummed I couldn't vote because I'm not like I'm not a creator, but I was also like, whew, I'm glad because there's like a lot of people I really like that have been on the show and stuff, and it would have been like I would have been sweating, freaking out.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Yeah. It's like close my eyes and like wave my finger around. That's how I choose the winners for the contests I do. I just like I pull up like the retweet screen and I just like slide my fingers all over it. Then I open my eyes and I'm like, hey, you want a comic book? Because I don't want to put like 50 people's names into those like random generator. Like I don't have time for that shit. Like it's crazy. Anyways, this is the first glimpse we get of Mog's werewolf design, which I love. Like they look so badass, and I love that they wear clothes sometimes. I just like, what Rob, was that you, like, or did you want him to like look stylish and cool, or like how did you all decide that element?
Yeah, so Mog and I worked really close together about the aesthetic of the wolves. Like her and I, you know, we talked about like what I had envisioned, and you know, and I said basically, you know, like take, you know, the established, you know, aesthetic that I have and make it yours, you know. And she, you know, she did a great job, and I think, like, especially with this page particularly, like the camera angles that she's done, you know, just in general, like everything, like, you know, has been very well done. And I mean, I keep brown nosing her, but you know, it's true. She's
Are you lying to me?
Keep it up. Keep it up.
Yeah, no one's lying. Like you are on it 110%. Here we got some looks at the new issue, the second issue. All this detail you put in is crazy. Like
I'm crazy.
These like
Hey, you got me, man.
Yeah, her attention to detail. Like there's times where like she'll be so detailed in like the background, and I'm like, wait, where's the focus here?
People, they're not important, you know.
How are you a Mog? Are you a digital artist, or are you like pen to paper? How do you like to draw these amazing images?
I can do digital because I was actually when I was studying art, I was actually a 3D animator before, believe it or not. But one day, like spending 18 hours in a dark room, I just had a strange epiphany staring into the screen. Like, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life, man. So I changed it to like tradition, like 2D. But technically, I can do both. So, but I like it preferred, definitely like 2D. So traditional, yeah.
Yeah, she's wicked with a pen.
Can I ask? Do you mean you do it like on physical paper and then like?
So I'm so old school. I should have been born like I think at least 200 years ago. I think I would be very happy, except maybe like a gender change because you know it was a little bit hard being a girl back then. So
yeah. But I mean, other than that, like. I mean, yeah, sometimes it's nice to. Oh, I say that, but I'm obsessed with technology. Like, I feel like my whole life is online now. But I mean that because of the shit I do. I'm like, I gotta be like everywhere and be on all the social medias, and it'd be nice. It'd be nice to not have to worry about that sometimes.
As long as there's indoor plumbing, I think it would be all right to go back to a certain time period.
Yeah. Dude, I'm with you. I remember the first like Boy Scout camp, right, that I went to, and like my dad went, like some of the parents went, And like we were telling ghost stories and stuff by the fire, and then at night, like you're hearing all these noises, and you're like, I gotta go to the bathroom, and then you had to like walk away from the campsite to this outhouse in the dark, and there's like stuff scurrying around in the darkness, and I was like, I don't know if I could do this all the time. Like I
just like, went with my son this weekend. Yeah, we had no lights, peeing in some strange outhouse, waiting to get murdered.
You know what you do in Korea? I don't know. Maybe it's not a cultural thing, but we kids back then still do it. Whenever you go to the restaurant after hearing a scary story, you tell the guy, "Hey, I want you to watch outside, and make sure you sing really loud, so I can hear you." And the moment you cut off, I know something's gone wrong. So as a dad, John, you should have been like singing like your lungs off.
But then I would have been just messing with him and stopped, and he would have come running out.
I did that all the time. I was like, oh, and I would go quiet on purpose.
What's up, Sean? Happy to have you in the house tonight. Sean is all about Drumsticks of Doom, and this is the first Kickstarter he's ever backed. He was like obsessed with like this idea of John's comic, which we'll talk about later. But it looks like you're getting close to fully funded, finally, because John's been giving me a whole rash of shit because some of the other guests I've had have like had these like day one campaigns, and he's like, I came on your show and didn't have a day one campaign.
All of the other guests. Are hitting home runs here, and then Blake's letting me down. No, Sean, we actually haven't funded, not issue 2 at least, but issue 1 was a huge success. So I have no doubt in the next 8 days that we're very close to goal, and we're doing very well. I have no complaints.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. No one's gonna stop singing outside of the bathroom
or else, Blake.
Yeah, I will come for you.
Yeah, it's really good. It only lasts a little bit, so. After a couple of years, they grow up, so.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm single, no kids. My life is fucking comic books and nerd shit. It's just amazing. I got a puppy. I can't control. A little motherfucker. He ate a spoon. He's in the last few days, he's eating a stick of butter, a wooden spoon, like the big spoon end of a wooden spoon. He just ate it. Like it was gone. I couldn't find pieces of wood anywhere. And then he ate a fucking Chiefs shirt I left on the couch. What's going on with you, man? Anyways, he's a little shit. I love him, Bruce, little Bruce, man. But you think we rescued him from the pound. You think he'd respect us, but he doesn't. He doesn't. He's a fucking wild. I'm pretty sure he's a coyote. He kind of looks like a coyote. I think he might be part coyote because he'll be really good for like a week, and then he's like, I've been okay. It's time to destroy. And he just gets in these weird moods.
My wife worked at an animal hospital. That was the number one thing, man. Exploratory surgeries all the time, man. Dogs eat anything.
We have a Doberman pup. She isn't even a year old yet. And it's like everything. She's just a land shark.
Yeah, when I first brought him home, he would eat he got a couple of my comics, and he won't he wants to eat the stuff in bags and boards, like the plastic. And I'm like, what are you doing, man? And then luckily, like that doesn't happen anymore. But yeah, he's a nut job. I love him though. He's a cool little shit. Speaking of dogs, I guess we'll go back to this comic we're talking about. But yeah, these werewolf designs, I love how varied they are, right? Because there's some wolves, the wolves in the wolf pack, like sometimes there's like a uniformity to them, and I don't mind that at all either, because like my favorite movie is Dog Soldiers, and those wolves all very much look the same. But I really like just the variations, in like their fur color, their clothing, the weapons they use, just like their faces, like they're all so unique. And oh my God, it just cannot. I mean, I hope it's fun to draw, but like thinking about it, I'm like, this is so much work on every page for you. Like, how long typically does it take you to do like a whole page?
Great.
Well, yeah, right. It depends. It depends on the. It's a 2-team thing, so it's not just the artist. So even if I finish it, like if there's redos needs to be done, it's a process. So, but usually I try to finish it after the revision within a day.
Okay.
So, but I am, because as you can see, there's details, so it does take time. So I'm not some kind of wizard that can finish it. And Rob should know it like to its bone marrow. It's like, oh my god. By the way, I'm not trying
There's a lot of like as you said, there's a process. Like we work
it's a
from
process.
like the layout to the roughs, and then from the roughs, there's a little bit of change, and then like as she gets more detailed, then like I say, okay, well this needs to be like this or whatever, and then once she finalizes it, it's pretty good to go.
So when
I'm really interested in this Attack on Titan-esque thing going on here. This is terrifying.
Yeah.
What was interesting was this character, this monster, according to the folklore, it really existed even before Attack of Titans. So that was very interesting. Yeah. So Rob,
it's a Scottish mythology character that stemmed from Norse mythology. It's basically they call them they're like sea demons in a way, but it's called a knuckleave.
Yeah, knuckle.
And it's and they like spew like a poisonous vapor. Like that's like that gas is like very poisonous, and it's just a weird like haunting creature that like haunts the northern Isles of Scotland.
And it looks huge because these werewolves aren't small, right? So
right. Yeah,
it's like a giant scary beast.
Yeah. It's a very, very large and formidable opponent.
And this also impresses me too, how these werewolves can emote. Is that hard for you, Mog, to like put emotion into these like beast's face, or does that?
Yeah. But what I did, I think this issue number 2, like I kind of had a breakthrough. I was studying like what do you call like dog animations by Disney. And I was like looking at them frame by frame and studying their expressions. And then I finally found an algorithm, a certain kind of pattern. And then once I utilized that pattern, the system, I implemented it. It became easier. So that was the coolest thing. I won't bore you with the technical stuff, but it was really, it was really good. Yeah. And then from then on, it just started to just morph and
So you like hit that groove.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And then by next year, I probably will forget. So to keep doing it.
I love pugs. I used to be a bouncer at a bar, and one of the waitresses had pugs, and they would like bring them to work sometimes, and so I would be like the big scary bouncer, like playing with these little puppies, and everybody thought it was hilarious. I was like, sorry, I have a soul. Like just because I'm the door guy doesn't mean I can't play with a dog. Anyway.
Really? How tall are you?
Like 5'10". I'm wide though.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then we got tons of tiers going on. Oh, and then I like this too, the hidden creature stuff you guys put in the comics, like this little like kind of Where's Waldo game you play.
Oh yeah. So the idea for that do you remember like the kids of the 80s will remember this, but the original She-Ra cartoon where they had that little like Blinky character hiding in like the scenery, and then at the end he's like, hey, did you see me? So I kind of like liked that, like like you said, Where's Waldo aspect to it.
Yeah.
And this also, like, I thought was a way that, especially in issue 1 where there's she hasn't exactly been open to the fantasy world yet, but I wanted to show that these creatures existed even though humans are completely oblivious to them.
That's awesome. I love the lore and stuff you've put into. I mean, just like with the protagonist, how like, is a full-blooded werewolf but doesn't know it, right? And changes like when that change happens in the first issue, and like I don't know, like I thought that was really cool because it's not this full moon motif, right? You've changed the world a little bit, which I dig. No worries. And then I mean, yeah, you've got some great people. He's got a big following for this book, ladies and gentlemen. Like he's been on Kickstarter a while now. 6 issues with Nightwolf with the main series, and now we're spinning off and learning about the past of one of everyone's favorite characters, or at least one of Rob's favorite characters. Everybody likes.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Everybody
when
likes
I
it, right?
first, I polled my audience, which I refer to as my wolf pack. So I do every campaign, I do a survey and I send it out, and I ask, like, hey, for this particular time, I was like, hey, once Nightwolf is on its own feet, what would you like to see me do next? What series would you like to do next? And I have like 3 other titles that I have kind of like on the sidelines waiting to be released. And I also threw in Snowpaw just because, 1, she's my favorite character, and 2, a lot of people give me a lot of positive feedback about her, and want to see more of her. So I was like, okay, well, let's throw her in the mix and put those 4 titles out there. And she was she was number 1, out of the majority picked. Wanted to see another series with her in it and her origin story. So for me, I was happy that was the way, even though my other babies are kind of now still sitting on the sidelines, but yeah, I mean, I can't complain. It's the reception that everybody's given this series, over the last year has been amazing.
Yeah. And I like I think your prices are pretty fair too.
Yes.
$5 digital, $8 catch up digital for 1 and 2. That's awesome.
Yeah, I didn't want to raise I know with everything going on, like the only thing that unfortunately I rate for international shipping, because it's getting so ridiculous.
Yeah.
I had to bump it up a little bit, but it's still under what I'm going to pay to send it to Europe or Canada. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it is what it is. But yeah, I didn't want to raise the core cost of the book and wanted to make it affordable, because in the end, I want it to be in people's hands so they can enjoy it. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yep.
And if I like how you are fair with your base tiers, but like if people want to dump some money into this, you've got some really cool ways for them to dump some big money into it with your clothing and apparel, the stickers, the loot box. You have a lot of cool retailer packs too. Yeah, it's just I think your marketing scheme is smart.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we got so that's everything, right? So that's
basically
$29.
Volume 1, Nightwolf, 5 and 6, Snowpaw 1 and 2. Yeah, so that's all of my stuff digitally right there. You can get, and the Volume 1 is 152 pages. So I mean, it's
wow.
It's
a good trade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really want to get to. You always have the best fucking variants, man. It's crazy.
People were like, there's so many options, I don't know which one to choose.
I'm obsessed with Rio Burton. Like I love Rio's art. And this cover so much.
My God. Basically, I was like, I want to see a werewolf. I'm like, here's the characters. You choose, you do.
And then there's a really gorgeous trade if you get the hardcover edition. Where is it? It said somewhere. We'll get there.
Holy cow! I can't believe how many. This is amazing.
Yeah, it's everything.
Whoa.
Did you see the die cut cover he's holding up? Holy cow!
Oh, he's holding it up. Okay, I'm staring at the other screen. Hold on, we can make that.
Oh, that's rad.
that's so sick, dude.
Yeah,
and so that's the first 4 issues, right?
It has a vellum overlay with the werewolf over top of the.
Oh my goodness!
The human form.
Oh, dude, that is sick.
Yeah, this thing, I love this book. Even just for me, I wanted to do something special with the trade, because usually I'm a single issues collector. So, and I know a lot of my audiences too, then I wanted to do something with this that was a little more special and more of a collectible. And, even long term, I have plans for this, so 12 issues are scripted for this particular story arc for Nightwolf. And these are the 3 volumes that are going to encompass that 12 issue run. Will be a connecting covers where there's a battle scene, up front here. So they'll be all connected, and then the 3 different werewolves will have underneath the die cut. And I have to just come up with something just as cool, if not cooler, for Snowpaw when I do the collected edition.
So, ideally, like everything goes according to plan. How many Lone Wolf arcs do you have planned out?
So for Nightwolf, we have like I have 3 seasons, if you will, like so 12 issue seasons. I call them because in case it was ever picked up by a TV series, that would be like how it would run, right? Or even a movie. So let's say 3 movies or 3 seasons. That's how far out I am planning to continue. So I mean, it's for me this both series. I enjoy writing and I enjoy. So they'll both will be and ongoing as much as possible, especially like with Snowpaw. I have 200 years to play with, for her. So I can just keep going, until we hit the point of Nightwolf where she jumps in.
Nice.
And even before that, I mean, I could even, to the point where like she's, even how she gets into it, you know what I mean? Like I have so much wiggle room. As long as people want to see her, I'll keep putting them out. Same with Nightwolf.
and I mean, you're sitting at 7,200, right? You just broke 7,200. Yeah. So he launched today, folks. He's got 237 backers, $7,200. That's a hell of a day one, man. Like,
yeah.
Congrats to you and Mog for kicking ass and taking names. Like that's awesome. But yeah, I like I said, I have the digital. I bought way back. I got the digital volume 1. And then I just recently got to experience Snowpaw, and I love it, man. Like do you have other characters you may want to go back and flesh out like you're doing here, or like are you going to kind of stick with the 2 series?
I think with the 2 series for sure, and then like I introduced into to Nightwolf issue 2 my other characters that I was mentioning, and so actually I have them on my mystery box. One of my mystery boxes is basically a Lone Wolf Comics one, but so like bad. As you can see, the other 3 characters there are my other titles that I plan on getting out. There's a Dark Angel, the Crimson Dawn, the guy in the red and yellow. He's kind of like a super soldier cyborg, and then the ninja guy is an Eternal, as I call him. So there's a lot of things that I have a world like that box is basically like the cover here. Is kind of like from a world-ending event that I kind of like. It's kind of like their Avengers moment, but yet they're not really going to be a team ever. It's just that they got kind of stuck together. So I have long-term plans for all these characters. It's getting them out in a timely manner.
This is why Rob has 400 boxes behind him.
Yeah, he's got. Wow. He's got all these extra comics behind him, and I know you guys do well at con. Excuse me, you do well at like cons and stuff too, because I like how you interact with your fans. I really like that on your Kickstarter page too, how you include like everybody's, because I mean it's without the backers. There's everybody has these great ideas, right? But it's without the backers, these books don't get made, and I really appreciate how you in your campaign page how you like take time to celebrate that and celebrate your fans.
Oh, yeah.
So like,
I mean, like I said, they're my wolf pack. I love interacting with them. I even encourage them if I sending out my newsletter or social posts. Like I encourage them to talk to me, comment. I want to talk to you. I want to be more than just a
friends.
I mean, I'm like, I want to know, I'll sit and have conversations. Like there's Wolfpack members that like, I'll flat out, we'll message now, just
that's cool.
It's, and I met one in Boston. His name's Anthony. He's been a long time pack member, and it was like when we met in Boston, it was like we were best friends, like we already knew each other.
Nice.
That's right. That's cool, man. I'm happy for you. And this is you're one of the like you and like Charlie Stickney and like Kevin Joseph and like these long time Kickstarter guys, like you show that like when you put the hard work in and you appreciate your fan base and pay attention to that, like you gain this following, right? And now you have this wolf pack following, which is awesome. So yeah, I'm glad that they're giving back to you and vice versa. I appreciate, because I don't want to fucking talk to anybody. I don't
but yet you're on a podcast talking to us.
Well, yeah, like this is, I used to tell people, because my job, I talk on the phone all day. And so like before I started podcasting, like a couple people wanted me to like talk comedy, and I was like, no, I was like, I talk all day. I don't want to get off work and talk all night too.
Yeah, no,
and now it's now that's all I do. But yeah, it's I love the Blake's Buzz fans too. I like talking to them, and I love talking comics. And I of course obviously love talking to these talented guests that I get to talk to, every week. But yeah, there's some people that you don't want to talk to, and so I just appreciate, I think it's very cool that you're like so open to just like, some people are closed off, especially like with artists and writers. Some of us are just kind of like not as social creatures, right? So
don't get me wrong, I have to fill out, like, and I've talked to Mog about this before, like I am partially introverted, like where I'm like I have to like fill up my gas tank, and then once it's out, I'm like, okay, I gotta go back in hiding.
Oh man, that's good. I
when you
feel
see me doing this stuff, my tank is full. By the end of a campaign, if I disappear,
yeah, you burn yourself out. Yeah.
But Blake, speaking of the fans, I think in the Kickstarter there's a comment there. I think there's a mom who I think had a son who has a Tourette syndrome.
Oh, the
that comment was very touching.
Yeah, matter of fact, when she reached out to me, I was amazed, and it was like one of the especially for me, like I'm dyslexic and have an attention deficit disorder. So me being a writer, ironically, for me, like comics helped me learn to read, and having that come full circle for this kid, this kid with Tourette's, like to settle down enough to actually be able to focus and read on something, like it was an amazing feeling that it just, like I said, just come full circle. And I had that like feeling of remembering, the frustrations that I had to go through, and sympathizing with this young boy.
That's so cool, man. That's what, like, that's what this shit's about. I feel like, when people like, with me, like if I like refer a comic book and someone's like, oh my God, I bought this because like you said it was cool and I loved it. And I was like, oh, like it's neat when people like reach out to you and like when you think you're like, oh, I'm not just screaming into the void. I'm not just like writing these books. Like people are actually reading them. People are actually experiencing them, and they help make days better. I mean, yeah, that's got to be like a righteous, very, very righteous feeling. Yeah. So anyways, I'm glad you guys are around. I'm glad you guys are making werewolves cool. And I'm glad you got Mog to do your interior artwork. Cause I can't imagine after reading that issue and seeing the preview pages, like I can't imagine it looking like any other way. Like it's so tied into your vision. I dig that. And then next up we got another like Adam doesn't draw this comic. He writes it and he writes it very well, but another comic that like is just beautiful. And I haven't seen much. I haven't really ever seen anything that looks quite like Corollary from Source Point Press. And I'm gonna do the little intro here. I'm gonna do the movie trailer voice. I'm gonna bring in Corollary. In Corollary, everything comes in twos, even the people. And if your twin dies, so do you. This is the way it's always been. So when Captain Andromeda's twin loses her life in a far-off military battle, and Captain Andromeda herself does not die, the universe demands answers that the captain is willing to give to the highest bidder, of course. Collecting the complete hit mini-series, Corollary Volume 1 is out in shops October 12th for $19.99. You motherfuckers need to buy this because this comic rules, by the way. I love Source Point Press too. And then just
that
like
was amazing.
That was good. Didn't even skip a beat.
So this is this is the art basically. It's like there's these like it's like watercolor filled in and backgrounds, not as detailed, but the color hues and everything that's going on. Just really fleshes out the world. I love this. It's so fucking stylistic. It's so awesome. That's the sort. Where did I go? Okay, yeah. So we got to pull up, Google Images, because I didn't plan well, apparently. I didn't know. We didn't have a Kickstarter page to go through. But I mean, like, this art is just it's gnarly good. Like, these crazy environments, the spaceships, it's got this like animated vibe, but I mean, these colors, just everything comes together so well. And the story is it's so crazy. And there's cool action. It's sexy, it's funny, it's intriguing. The basic gist of the story is, yeah, like I love this like conversation about duality, right? How did you come up with this idea, Adam? Like we're, it's very much like it's like philosophical. It's like it's like there's not, well, we get to it later, there is sort of a gray area, but the dual nature of existence. Like, what was going through your mind when you were coming up with all that?
I mean, your intro was amazing, and yeah, and I dropped the ball in not getting you some more stills of this too. But it's for Rob he watercolored it by hand. Like, he did his own. He did the pencils and inks, and then he watercolored by hand the first 3 issues, and then he was exhausted by those first 3 issues, and we brought in Gabby Metzler to digitally color the 4th. That one, yeah, right there. Actually, that's number 3. Which he was still doing. Oh no, that's number 4. Yeah,
that's 4.
Yeah, so that's digitally colored, unlike the other 3. But no, it is about duality, and it's about I don't know. I mean, I wrote this like leading into the pandemic and finished it in the pandemic, and I think that I had a duality. I had a moment of like trying to figure out my identity and what is my truth, and plus the fact that a friend had almost around the same time that I was thinking of this had twins, and my daughter, who was a lot younger back then, she was like 5 at the time. She was just like, when I was tucking her into bed, she said, "Dad, if your twin gets tickled, do you laugh?" And I just went to a darker place with it.
Yeah, you did.
And then, then it grew from there. As far as, it's about, of course, the premise there, like, if your twin dies, you die too. But it's also about, like, who are you without your twin? Like, what is a person's identity? And there's a lot of different characters that you meet in this book that they play with the concept of identity, both in, because it's science fiction. I wanted to be very light in my touching of this, but just like dealing with gender ambiguity and having characters with like kind of neutral pronouns and whatnot, without it being kind of like, in your face, which, of course there's, plenty of comics that take those kind of topics straight on, but I just, in this, wanted there to be just this possibility where the, options are just kind of numerous. And sometimes you don't need to know like what a person, how they designate themselves, or a being, I should say, because there's a lot of different beings in this book. The main characters are figuring out who they are without their others, either if their others are like trapped somewhere else, or, because a lot of them do navigate the universe with their person, their twin, kind of attached at the hip, but there are exceptions. And that's in seeing what happens to them, because they're having to figure out who they are without that other.
And I'm going to spoil it because it happens in issue 1, and the trade's coming out. So like, we find out in the end, like, so that's the whole mystery, right? There's these twins and one died. And so like, everybody wants to know, like, how do I protect myself if my twin dies? Right. And there's this bidding war on this secret. And you find out the real secret is that the other twin didn't die. They've preserved the brain, right? And they can swap bodies. They can like swap the brain out of the flesh body, and then one of them, like, one brain controls their spaceship while when the other one's in the body, which like is I've had some cool ideas for shit, man, but like that's so gnarly. Like just the crazy idea, like the dual nature of the first part, and then the idea that like these twins are tied to each other, cosmically, and like can't can't exist in this universe without each other, and then to come back on that and like come up with this crazy like way of the swapping, right, and all these elements that happen in this narrative in these 4 issues, right, and there's like it doesn't ever feel rushed, and it doesn't ever feel like you're like pounding your readers with like too many ideas, right? It all happens like really organically, and it really works as like the narrative flows so well, and there's like great tension, and the multitude of characters. Like there are living satellites, right? I love the brother moons. Like that was issue 2. Like that's like there's this moon that got hit by an asteroid and he's dying, and the other moon is like stressing the fuck out, right? Because he's like, I'm gonna die too. Like, what do I do? And of course, like through the wonderful shenanigans of comic booking, right? Like we help these brother satellites like figure out like the day is saved, basically, right? And I just your brain is phenomenal. Like I don't know how, like it's crazy. Like these ideas are very fresh. I mean, body swapping's been done before, like
Sure.
but I mean, like the way you kind of took the way you took the narrative and with Andromeda and the sister, and how you play with like claustrophobia when
yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah,
like, man, like are you claustrophobic?
Yeah, actually,
because it felt very real. Like I was like, man, like this dude, like I was like, man, I got like freaked out a little bit when I was like in those scenes.
Yeah. So well, airplane bathrooms in particular, I can't even breathe. But maybe I'm not alone in that one. No, yeah, I mean that I just kept trying to raise the stakes for them, because you're right. Of course, we've seen like brain swaps and brains, science fiction brain transplants happening left and right. But I wanted there to be more to it, and so there's the fact that the sister Cass is claustrophobic when she is in the machine, when she is like literally a part of their ship or their AI android. And then we also find out, and like you said, it's spoilers away here. There's a catch to even their swapping, that they find out that there's a finite amount of swaps, and eventually they're going to have to make a hard choice. And that hard choice is all about like who are they going to be from here on out? And one of them's going to have to give up their actual human self for the other. So yeah, it was, I don't know, it's something that just like kind of stuck with me, as far as like just the germination of the whole concept of twins, and then just taking it into this kind of galaxy, and then Rob bringing in his style of art. I don't know, it helped me, like, I think, open it up even more with like, because it feels like if there's a blending of fantasy with the sci-fi, like he kind of, his style gave it like this Conan the Barbarian vibe mixed with the hopefully hard sci-fi elements that are throughout it.
Did you see it as, how did you get involved with Rob? Did you see it as so cartoony? Because what you're describing, I sometimes you kind of have an idea of what art, but
no, great
it's
question.
not what I expected, and I like it. I definitely like the style.
Yeah, no, I actually I had somebody else that I like kind of played around with a while, like years ago, on it, and then I just realized that wasn't right. And then actually initially Rob and I just did it as like a 5-page like finite super short story for like, you all know Future Shocks with 2000 AD, like they have those like literally they have to only be 5 pages. And I mean, I had it all scripted for this longer piece, but I was like, well, I want to just see what do we have here as a 5-page version. And that one I wanted, and Rob did, like, it was a lot more cerebral looking, very subdued looking characters, not half as expressive, like very just an alien kind of remote kind of vibe. And then like when we wanted to grow this thing, he just took off with the watercolors. And even then initially we thought, well, maybe we're only going to have certain pages watercolored to like indicate mood and like certain emotional shifts. But then it felt, I don't know, it felt different enough and wacky enough to just go with the story that I already had that we just decided to go the whole enchilada of watercolor vibes, which I think, I think it complemented the cartoon. And you're right. This could have had a very different look would have, I think, impacted the tone of it, even if it was the exact same story.
Yeah. I think like the elements, like the stars aligned, right? Like this, everything in the cosmos was happened for a reason. And I love that. I think I told you this last time we talked. I love that juxtaposition of the cartoony, animated, vibrant art with the darkness and seriousness of the narrative. It just really makes everything pop. Obviously, like visually with the colors, everything just leaps off the page, right? And but just like the darkness of it, because the whole deal, like their parents are in a prison, they're trying to raise money to get their parents out of a prison, they're struggling with how to coexist with each other and share one body. And like you mentioned, like there's a finite number of swaps, so every time someone gets relieved and gets to like experience life and normalcy, you never know if they're going to be able to switch back, and someone may be stuck. And then also like with the sibling rivalry too, like just like that normative universal thing most of us can relate to, unless you're like a single child. But like, so yeah, there's so many things going on, and you handle it so well. And again, like talking about it when you're like, oh, there's only 4 issues. I mean, it can seem like it gets overwhelming, but it really never does. Like you're just like there in these wonderful moments from beginning to end. Like I wish it was like I wish it was longer, but like what you do in 4 issues is I think a lot of people in comics could learn from like what you can accomplish in just, you're also in the indie world too, so like you don't have to worry about like advertisements and stuff too to like take away your page count. And so sometimes if you go over a little bit, like I'm sure
and I did
Point,
Point was cool about that. Like there's a couple issues that are like 25 pages, so it definitely isn't like everything wasn't just the 21, or is it like officially 20 now? I'm not even sure.
I don't even know anymore.
I stretched it in like 2 or 3 of the issues by quite a bit. So no, it was. I mean, this whole experience has been just like a lot of fun. And I have I have a part 2 already, like kind of fleshed out and written out.
Yes. Fuck
Got to get back on the saddle with that. But yeah, it was written to be like kind of continue, but hopefully you feel satisfied by how it all wraps up.
Yeah, cool. Get the fuck out of here. Get to writing. I need it. You got shit to do. No. But no, that's exciting. I feel I've talked to Source Point, like I'm on, I'm on their press list and stuff, and I've talked to a few of them, although there's only a few of them. It's a very small company. Yeah, yep. I will humble brag. I told everybody this, like they were the first people that like made me feel like real press. Like they sent me boxes of comics, like as like in like physical copies of like trades and stuff a few times, and they were like, hey, like thanks for covering our comics, like check these out if you have time. And I was like, what the fuck, this happens? Like like I've had like guests on the show like send me care packages, but I've never had like a publisher like send me like a box of shit, like, hey, check this out. And so like, I think they're so cool. There's like 6 people in a garage. I think they finally have a warehouse now. But it started in like it's like a very punk rock kind of like garage band, but comic book press deal. And now they're getting a little bigger with Oxeye and
Cullen Bunn is now partnered with them.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm very excited about that. He's got an imprint with Source Point now. Like they're putting it on the table. And they've had big presences at cons lately and stuff. The Winchester Mystery House book that they're doing, which now has a board game. Yeah. So yeah, it's a cool company to get into. When you were pitching, like, were you sending it to everybody, or did you kind of like have your eye on them? Like,
I sent it to a few other places, but I had my eye on Source Point, and I like you brought up, like just their presence at cons. I met them like years ago, I think at LA Con, and just started the relationship there, and then just kept talking to them about like the process of like getting this, the pitch ready with Rob. And then they finally, I saw them again in person. That was what helped a lot, is like getting to see them in person as opposed to just being this blind email. And that made the difference as far as them finally like just taking a look at this, and then we were off to the races with it. So no, they're incredible. I mean, they're so busy, and now with New York Con, I think they're gonna have a huge presence there, and that's like just in a week. And I'm hoping to be at their booth for they're gonna be at San Francisco Fan Expo the weekend after Thanksgiving.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I keep forgetting New York's this weekend. It's gonna be crazy.
Is it this weekend or the following?
Wait, it's the following. Yeah, it's the following weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be nuts.
Yeah, because I remember I was trying to set up some interviews, and I was like, "You guys free?" They're like, "No, it's New York Comic Con, dummy." And I was like, "Oh shit, sorry, just kidding."
No, I was there one time 12 years ago, and it's nutso.
Yeah, I bet. I want to go to a con, so I still haven't been to a con. I was talking about this last night with Clay and Mick when I did their Kickstarter launch party, who also funded day one, because that's my Kickstarter launch parties are 4 for 5 apparently. They technically funded though after, like, no.
They funded like early this morning.
Yeah. But I was talking because I didn't realize both of them are in Arkansas, and so they go to the Kansas City Planet Con because it's like an easy drive for them, and we were kind of talking about that, and I guess a lot of some of my other interviews, some pros have mentioned that they love the Kansas City Planet Con because they like the barbecue, right? Like I'm spoiled. Like I don't think about it, right? Like I'm just lucky to be here and eat good food. And so many people are like, oh, like I love going to Kansas City because like then we get to eat barbecue, and we don't have this stuff like on the coast or stuff like that. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, I for the longest time I was a bouncer, and I made all my money on the weekends. So to like take off a whole weekend and go buy comic books didn't seem feasible.
Right.
And like my boss wouldn't let me either, right?
You have been deprived, sir. You got to get out there.
I know. I gotta. I'm hoping next year.
March, come on up. You can stay.
Yeah, I'm hoping next year to apply for some press passes and maybe like.
There you go.
I also think I could. So I also think I could give like a good panel, like if there was like a podcasting panel and stuff on branding, like because I could teach you how to turn yourself into a fucking billboard and slut it up online, right? Like.
Well, they would be. I mean, I can't think of a con that would not be dying to have you. I mean, I checked out. I've hosted a panel on like the history of comics in LA. Like at least for them, it was very straightforward and just how you even submit your pitch. And someone like you would be like they'd gobble you up. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I would dig that. I mean, I feel like because that's someone, who is it? Someone called these online shows I do a forum, and I was like, that sounds way too fancy, but like it's like, but that's kind of what it is. Like I have like a group of guests, and we we're here to celebrate and try and move comics and get you guys rich is what we're really here for. But we talk a lot about creating and talk a lot about Kickstarter and crowdfunding and some of the elements that go into that, and the importance of shipping with quality materials. Please fucking listen to me. But or like begging people to like pre-order your comics from the direct market, which like we all beg time and time again, and no one will pre-order your goddamn comics. I don't know what people are so against that for, but anyway, regardless, I'm straying from this awesome Adam Rose trade paperback that we're here to celebrate. And I still I hope in the back matter of that trade is somewhere mentions like this all happened when my kid asked me if you tickle a twin and they feel it. Cause that's so much better than like, if the Pope shits in the woods, do you smell it? Or what's the fucking saying? I don't remember. If a bear shits in the wood, I don't know, something shits in the woods and you smell it or feel it, like, do you poop? Or, I don't know. Everybody poops. There's a book about it.
Everybody poops. No, I mean, the one really cool thing I'll announce that I'm excited about is like I got Adam Beechin to write the foreword for it, and he does a lot of He's like a writer for a bunch of like cartoons, Transformers, Batman, Brave and the Bold, and he's done his own comics. He was like an indie original. If you all haven't heard of his comic Hench, you got to look it up. Adam Beechin's Hench. It's all about henchmen of supervillains. It came out like 15 years ago, maybe a little longer. Like he was doing that before. Like, you know, I feel like it's become common now, but it's a great little graphic novel. And yeah, so he's been like a mentor for me out here, and he was nice enough to write the intro.
That's cool. I've always wondered how you guys decide to do that, because I usually wait to read those until after I finish the comic, just because sometimes there's like a small spoiler of like a big, you know, every now and then they'll be like, oh, and then like when this character, you know, dies in it or whatever, and I'm like, fuck you, man, this is the second page of this omnibus I just cracked open, like, let me or, you know, but so like I've learned to like read the comic and then read the intro afterwards. But I've always wondered how, because there's some like huge names, like someone will like have a comic book out and they're like, oh yeah, and then like Brian Bendis wrote this like short little essay at the end or something, and it's when you do that, do you like ask like a handful of people and then maybe or like you hope not everybody says yes, or like is it?
No, I mean, well, for me it was, I mean, Adam's just someone I've known out. I mean, I've lived in LA for like a long time, and I got to meet him a long time ago when I was like just starting writing comics, and he was writing for DC, and he was nice enough to, you know, let me buy him a cup of coffee, and then we've just stayed in touch and have become friends over the years. So no, I mean, if Adam said no, I would have cried in a corner.
And called Blake's Buzz.
I hadn't thought far ahead about like what my next move would be, but yeah, so I'm lucky that he was cool enough to do that for me.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, I feel like you're a real comic book creator when someone writes you like a essay letter for your trade, like that you made it, like that's it, you're done. I mean, I don't want you to be done. I want you to write more, but like, I mean, you're there now. Yeah. Yeah. You're out of here. You're through in this town, Adam.
I'm out.
But and then so you mentioned earlier that the stresses of like compiling a trade.
Yeah, I mean, well, just seeing like Rob's like all the incredible work for his Kickstarter and Mog's like gorgeous art. I mean, I don't know. Now I'm like, oh geez, maybe the hard work I thought I was dealing with, like in comparison, is like nothing. But no, I mean, just the design and like the back and forth of like just talking to Source Point, and like there was a couple of versions of it that needed, like was missing a couple things, like bringing in like all the, like there's a couple bonus covers like for the ash can that I wanted in there, and then just some sketch pages of Rob's work as well, plus like having the intro in there, and having like, you know, just a little thing for me at the end, and you know, the kind of chapter divisions, like instead of the issues feeling like more like chapters, which they just had great design for. But it was, yeah, the whole process was an education in itself.
What's like, was it easier or harder than like, because I mean the work's done now, well, part of the work is done,
right?
But then like because I guess like, you know, you don't really think about like compiling, or did you have a lot? Because so like I got review copies which typically don't include back matter. Did your single issues have back matter in them?
No, they didn't. Single issues didn't. I wanted back matter for the trade, and I also managed to get a friend of mine, local artist, to do a pinup for the trade, so that's going to be in there. And that was also something like, you know, just it got kind of lost in the shuffle. So like Source Point sent me like a final version and it wasn't in there. I was like, I really want this pinup in there. So, you know, there's a lot of just having to, even though, yes, like you said, all 4 issues came out, and it's like, well, you know, I don't have to like look at, you know, I don't have to approve those proofs, but at the same time, I had to like, just little things can go off the rails quickly. So even that was just going through it all. And then they had to stop me, like, well, as much as we want to have all of Rob's process work, we can't. So they limited, because I like kind of dumped a bunch of pages that I wanted to see in there, and they just picked a few things. So yeah, it was an education. Like, and also just I would have loved it if I thought it through ahead of time. Like, I would have loved to bring in like other artists, like, just meeting Mog right now. I would have like called her up, like, hey, I'd love to have you do like a guest pinup or something. But I just, those kinds of ideas were like flowing when everything was already in. So I'm happy. I'm stoked with what I got. I'm glad it has the little bonuses in it that are there, and I think it'll be a cool read all put together. I think this story, because it came out monthly, and I think maybe and I had to like make sure in the single issues there was a recap for each issue, because the story is so crazy that you can get, especially you got to know who's who between the sisters.
Yeah.
So that, I think without like waiting a month for each issue and it's all being together as one book, hopefully it's an even cleaner experience.
Did you ever confuse yourself, like in like issue 3 or 4, and you're like, oh shit, wait, who's out? Who's in panel 5? Who's in the ship?
You mentioned that. Yes, I got confused, and then there's one moment that in issue 3 where Cassiopeia, or Cass, she outs herself at an early moment, and that was intentional. But I had like somebody say, well, why would she do that when that's risking everything for them? And like, well, they everybody that is like wants to kill them already knew at that point and knew where they were, and she's, of the two of them, she's the one that's going to make those kind of mistakes. She's a little more rash. So I was kind of defending that choice, even though someone was like saying, well, that seems like that might have been, you would have wanted to dial that down. But yeah, I certainly in the early drafts would have to remember who was who.
Because it's not like real life, right? You can't put like a lipstick line on their back and remember.
One thing, actually, it's funny you mentioned they and Rob did a good job of this. They do have a subtler difference in style.
Yeah,
and they are in the human body. They bring their own thing to it. And Cass, when she's in there, she's definitely got a little more of a barbarian vibe, and Aunt Robin has got more of a I want to be in my spacesuit vibe.
Yeah. That's cool, man. I really hope people that watch this later, I really hope everybody picks up the trade. And also because like if a lot of people pick up the trade, I'm sure Source Point would be way more eager to give you those to green light that new arc. If they haven't already, I know you probably can't talk about that stuff yet, because that's the best part about doing these shows is when I'm like, oh, what's going on later, and you guys are like, well, I can't really talk about it yet. I got some really cool stuff going on, and I'll announce it like in 2 weeks when I'm not on your show. But I get it. Like that's how the name of the game is. But yeah, if trade. Single issue sales are important. Like we all know that, right? But trade sales are also very important, especially when like the mini series is over. If you really love these works and if you put your money where your mouth is and enough people do that, then yes, the publishing company notices like, oh, this has a big audience. Like we should carry this on to another new place, and then maybe Mog could do a variant for you on this issue on the second, because like Mog's interiors are fucking dope to the max, but the variants she does for people, like again, like I was shocked because I've seen her work in variants, right? And I still like to like the interior work she does with Rob is so gorgeous too. But yeah, like I would be stoked to see Mog do like pinups or something with you. Now, before we go to John, I do have a question, because of the people on Kickstarter right now, everybody has a sexy variant these days. Everybody wants to draw somebody from the comic naked, and you blast them on the cover, and there's a huge market for it. And even like a couple people I've had on the show that were like experimenting with it, right? And they were like, we'll see how it does. And then like 2 days into the campaign, they're like, well, we're going to do one of these for every campaign now. So there's like a huge market for these naked pinup covers, right? And Rob, with all the variants you have, like you're not into
Just
it,
say
or
it, Blake.
is it
You want
because
naked werewolves? All right.
I want to
I
see
want
some
naked
I
werewolves.
want to see some
Someone draw me a
werewolves
naked
hanging
werewolf.
some dong. That's what I want. I want like the. I was gonna make a lipstick joke, but that's. But no, it's interesting because your main character in the new series is a very beautiful blonde curvy woman, and but I also know you kind of keep it PG-13 to keep your audience, you don't want to like segregate your audience. But yeah, I mean, I'm very interested because more and more people, like I said, more and more people are doing it. I mean, John's not doing it either. Would yet maybe for drumsticks of Doom 3, like who knows what can happen. But it's like it's a huge trend, and like have any of you guys thought about like getting nastier with it, or like is it just like not for you?
So with Snowpaw, the series, no.
Yeah.
It's so the intention for this series was more for like girls getting into comics to find a role model, like
Okay, so yeah, that makes sense.
That's why no Snowpaw. However, in Nightwolf, during the issue 6 campaign back in the summer, there was one naughty variant that I did experiment with, and it did very well. So I probably will do that for Nightwolf, which is more of a like darker, grittier, modern, and I think it caters a little bit more to that because there's, a little bit more adult themes in that book. That's not like out there and apparent, but I mean, like it's still there. There's a lot of innuendos in there. But so that's probably like why I'll probably do, one per campaign. And, when they sell out, they sell out. I won't reproduce or do more, because that's not the main focus for me, whereas like, especially for Snowpaw, that's even like in the Nightwolf campaign, I wouldn't do one with Snowpaw because I still want to keep her, that purest, role model as much as possible. I don't want somebody to Google search Snowpaw and see tits everywhere.
That's funny. I had the Scout Comics by the Horns team was on the other night, and Marcus-san was talking about his main character Elodie is very beautiful and like sometimes wears like not like super sexy clothing, but like she's curvaceous and like the artist draws her very well, right? And he says like people always hit him up they're like, well, like, can we, and it's artists asking him like, oh, can I do like a sexy pinup for you? And he's like, he said he respected the character too much to like want to get like commission like nude piece. And he was like, you want to do fan art, whatever. But like, he's like, this is like, I respect her. And she like reminds me of like, friend, like his family members and stuff and all. And I was like, it kind of blew my mind. Cause I was like, you obviously as writers, you get attached to these people you create. Right. And, but yeah, it's interesting. And you're kind of doing the same way. So I like how you're playing the role model vibe too, though, like how you want to set like a good example and, the strong female lead, which I think we need more of, but yeah, it's odd. It's just like, well, and I've bought a couple, I need to stop because they're expensive. It's like damn. But it's and I buy ones that like are like look like the art looks cool and it's not just like boobs on a cover, right? It's there's actually like there's talent involved and like they look, it's like it's it's sexy and says a lot too, kind of. These are the lies I tell myself. But it's a big trend, and I know like with the direct market, like with Adam, it's different. But I also know like I bought all the Vault black bag variants. And like Jen Bartel did one of those, and like I mean they got like some huge talent to do like nude covers for them, and so like I've like I kind of thought those were cool, and I ended up snagging them because they weren't like super extra expensive because it was it wasn't like paying $30 for one for a Kickstarter. It was these were like $5 or $6. But it's just kind of different, and it's like I don't know, like they're kind of fun to like show off sometimes. Where you're like, hey, I showed my dad. I was like, hey, Dad, check this out, and my dad was like, what the fuck? And I was like, I know, right? It's crazy.
Crazy.
But I remember when I was a kid, like my dad used to have, because my dad was a bartender, and he used to have the dirty jokes, like people would like print out these like dirty cartoons, and he would like keep them like folded up in his pocket and like show people, and he'd be like showing his friends, and I'd be like, I want to see it, and they're like, you can't see this. And so, and and now of course like that, we have like memes and shit on our phones, but yeah, he used to always have like these dirty cartoons in his back pocket, and it was just like, man, I really am your fucking son, I guess. Like just growing up. Like, Mog, what do you think? Like have people ever commissioned you for like weird stuff or stuff you're not?
I gotta go to get my son at karate. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Oh no, you're
to leave everybody.
Real quick, Adam. Tell us your social medias. Tell us where to find you.
Twitter at Adam Rose 74 and Instagram Shazam Cap. But I hate to leave because I want to hear from John, and I'm just gonna have to catch all this later. But really great to see everybody, and Blake, awesome being back on. It means a lot to me.
Dude, anytime. I got distracted with. I know you told me you had to leave early. I forgot.
My son's at karate. I got to pick him up from the dojo.
Hey, that's cool, man. You're raising a little bodyguard. That's
right. Yeah. Nice meeting you, Adam.
Everybody. Nice
Adam, it was great to talk again, bud.
All right.
But so yeah, Mog, like, has anyone ever approached you to like commission stuff like that, or that you're just like not? Are you not interested in that at all? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I have done them, but like it always comes down to, I think, the line that you draw inside your moral compass, whatever, right? Values, I guess. And for a while, I was like, I don't like it, right? So I refused a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
But recently, I just tried it again. And I realized no matter how hard I try, like I try to do sexy, I think I can't do it. Because it just doesn't, I don't know. It's like, I think people feel it when I do a sexy or nude. It's like they feel like I don't know, like some puritanical sister. I don't know what they're feeling. They're like,
I don't know. There was one page I remember in Snowpaw that I was like, you got to tone it down there, girl.
I don't know. But yes, I have tried it, and I'm not. I used to be biased about it, but living a little bit more in this earth, you get to realize that I just try to be open-minded. So
yeah.
You have a way. You have your illustrations, especially women, have a very elegant, sexy nature to them, even if they're not in the nude. Like the line art, the shape, like in general. I think sometimes too, like the unseen, sexy is also kind of like appeal as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like rather than like, hey, it's all over here,
right there, those raisins.
Hey.
Because in Snowpaw 1, like when they're before the engagement party, when they like, or actually when she's on her way to the engagement party, like the outfit she puts on at the farmhouse before she goes and travels, like it was like a low cut, and like she was looking good, and then they strap her in the corset, right, and like and tie her down, and so I mean there's you can definitely do, like, you can draw sexy beautiful women, but yeah,
I get it. Like, you're trying really hard. It's all right.
She's like,
all I do is try hard.
It's okay, Blake. I appreciate you. I appreciate the sentiment. It's all right.
But yeah, it's anyway. I never thought that would be like something I would buy or spend extra money on. But yeah, anyway, so I'm glad. Always interesting to see, like, because Kickstarter trends are weird, and that's just one of the new deals that seems to be happening. And then now, real quick, before we get to John, I've made him wait for fucking ever. I am long-winded. I'm so sorry, John. I did mention we have a sponsor tonight, Monster Matador, and I just want to mention again that this is like a 15 Volume 1 is a 15-year ordeal in the making that has been collected for the first time, and Steven has put together a short little murdersome clip that I just want to put up here real quick, just to remind everybody, like, back this comic, and if you back it and back Rob's comic, you get a dope crossover print. And I that is another Kickstarter trend that I actually really dig, that no one's getting naked and being weird about. So anyways, without further ado, let me present this quick Matador trailer. Maybe. Just short, sweet, and badass. That just I love that comic. It's so good. It's so this guy fights fucking kaiju with a goddamn sword and a red cape like it's a bull, and it works. And they're like insects and weird and crazy. Anyways, yes, please go back that. And also, you know what else you should back is Drumsticks of Doom, which is live on Kickstarter right now. And you are close. You are less than $500 away.
Yeah, we had a good last couple days, especially had a nice backer get one of those metal variants today, so that really helped.
Nice. I really want one, but those metal covers are expensive. Rob, are you guys doing metal covers?
We do have some metal covers from issue 1, and I have some from the Nightwolf series as well. Whether we're doing them for issue 2 will depend on maybe a stretch goal. But hey, I gotta head out, John. I'm sorry I'm gonna miss yours, but I already backed you, so it's all good.
That's all that matters.
Rob, thanks for hanging out. I know it's late on your end. I appreciate you, bud.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, Mog. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. So yeah, Drumsticks of Doom is live right now. Less than 500. Someone just backed you again. It just went up. Look at that. Look at that. I'm making you money.
Hey.
You're making your own money. I'm kidding. Your talents are what is bringing this to life. I really love the first issue. I won't it's so great. This crazy world where blacks. You pitch it, John. Tell us about this crazy new metal world.
I'll pitch it. So you got Mr. Rob Multari and his 36 issue arcs of Scottish folklore, and you've got, Adam with his what's the nature of duality and man and all these things. And I'm just sitting over here and I'm like, man, you remember that one lyric from that Manowar song? That lyric was sick, man. They're talking about swords. Let's see a comic about that. So that's what this is. This is basically Manowar lyrics come to life. But it started as just a young woman, and she's going to practice one day, and a werewolf jumps in and then I had to kind of make a story from there. It was just kind of always really was a more grounded story about a woman struggling with does she want to be in a band, does she want to make music or not. And I had to make a story, so I added some werewolves, and I added some cults, and I added some things like that. And then I said to myself, well, how the hell did all this stuff come to be? And I said to myself, well, what if Black Sabbath, instead of the Beatles, became the most popular band in the world, and thus the universe was changed forever? And that's kind of where the story really grew from. Brought in artists, you see here, Dan Doherty, who is amazing, who brings these amazing pages to life. Yeah, we're on issue 2 now. We had an awesome success earlier this year with issue 1. My biggest success ever in 10 or 12 years of doing Kickstarters, and we were so excited after we delivered issue 1 here in August that we would launch issue 2 now in September, and we're off to a great start. It's a little bit of a shorter campaign, so we're really only 2 weeks into it, and already up over 3,500, so we cannot complain.
Yeah, I love this new cover too.
So that's our sexy variant, as you see. Guys in cold hoods are very sexy. Women thrown in water, always sexy. Dio, of course, that's an homage to Ronnie James Dio's Holy Diver album, so that's sexy, right?
Yeah.
That's about as sexy as we get.
I mean, this one's kind of, well, I mean, she's like, I guess, yeah, you can kind of see a nipple.
Yeah, yeah. And that was more provocative than sexy. But yeah, that's artist Matt Festa, who I've actually known through friends for, about a decade now. And I had an idea, and it ties into the story. But this is an homage to the Fuseli painting, The Nightmare. And I told him I want it to be a heavy metal version of that, showed him the cover, and oh my God, he just nailed it. It's the most awesome gothic, and Matt himself is super into like metal and industrial and things like that too. So I knew he was the right person to bring onto the project. And I've been very, 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 very fortunate with my cover artist. They are bringing their A game to this book.
You really have. The issue one. What I mean, I won't lie. For when it first launched, issue one, like the Maria Wolf variant, like is what caught me because I collect her variants. And I love her artwork, and so I was like, it was shocking to see her on like a Kickstarter variant of, because usually she does like store exclusives, and now she's like doing a bunch of like Marvel, normal Marvel work where they're just like printing regularly that you can find in stores everywhere. And but yeah, so your cover arts have been really great. I love this cover too. I really like the lizard. Like
It's amazing.
he's so cool. He's like kind of like a gecko and a snake. Like I don't know. It's super goth. Like I really dig the gothic vibes there. Charlie Stickney's in the house, agreeing that Mog can draw beautiful women.
Wow.
I mean,
Thank you.
he knows knows his stuff.
Thank you.
Sarah Landauer's in the house. Yes, I think everybody loves a good crossover print. Like it's a great way to celebrate other campaigns and to get to know other creatives and get stuff together.
We did a print last time with Lana, who's the main character from Drumsticks of Doom, and crossover with In Symmetry Creations and their book Heirs of Isildur. That was my first time doing that, and Matt from In Symmetry had approached me, and I was like, it's extra work, it's extra stuff to print, but if you want to do it, so he said, well, Michael Watson from FSK Go Studios will do it. He'll do a live stream, and it was really fun. I had never really we had done our own exclusive prints, but to do a campaign crossover was just so fun. So actually this time, if you'll scroll down, we have
you're
here.
With Travis Gibb this time.
We got Travis Gibb. We got some
wow, some
Granite State Punk, some Drumsticks of Doom picks already in. So if you back both at the physical level, we'll be doing that. I also have who guest on your show recently, Chuck Pino, and his amazing book Belial. He's offered to give away. Actually, just yesterday, as we reached 150 backers, we gave that away already. So you're already getting a free comic. Even if we don't make funding, you're still going to get this comic. So I love the community, and that's a big part of why I joined. Started making comics is the community, and I took a couple years off, came back, and was just welcomed in by creators like Chuck and Travis, and it's just cool when they offer up ideas and help and make products together or whatever to promote each other. That's a really fun part of it for me. That will always make this campaign special. I can always remember the things that we did together to help each other.
Yeah. I agree that the community is amazing. As I mean, I'm not a creator, but like I like to think I'm involved in the community. But like the people I've met and just how like welcoming and awesome everyone is. Everybody's just really excited about comics. That's what I love. They're excited about comics, excited to tell stories, and to deal with weirdos like me for 2 hours at a time, like several times a month.
Right.
But I'm like
on a bi-weekly schedule here.
Yeah. John's gonna keep coming back till it gets funded. So if you want John and I to shut up, then just everybody log on right now. Let's get this guy $460 more, and then I'll take a week off, and nice. John will go on vacation with his family and talk to his kids again.
Maybe.
Yeah, but it's pushing it. He'll hang out with his buddies and play Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be doing that tonight, but I ruined his good time.
We got the new set right here. We got some new cards. Ready to go.
I love MTG.
Oh, it's the best.
It's
Yeah, I
the
was joking
best.
with Blake. I was supposed to play tonight. I had to change my plans for him, but that's all right. I appreciate it.
I can't figure out the game. I'm like card
next
dummy.
stream. All right, we'll invite Mog back on. We'll all play.
Play Magic.
I play via webcam with people.
What?
We can teach you.
You can play webcam?
Yeah, like this. You just point it down at your card, and then you do. Yeah, it does require some knowledge of the game, but most of us we play casually, so it's just, hey, this is what this card does, and then it makes it really funny when there's cards that like steal other people's cards or have to look at their deck or whatever, and then you're like holding it up to the webcam. It's funny. It's all in good fun, but yeah, I love to play Magic the Gathering. Which is really what took me away from comics for a couple of years. I got really big into Magic the Gathering, and I was like, yeah, I wasn't feeling the vibe of comics. Kind of, got my creative itch through, deck building and stuff like that. And then when I was ready to come back, I was able to launch things like this and feel refreshed and that's the best thing about kind of being your own boss in this game. I didn't really have any publishers or anything like that to be beholden to, so whenever I was ready to make more comics, I could make more comics.
And then I know you also, I mean, I'm glad you're using Kickstarter again and having luck with Drumsticks of Doom, but you did some like a mixture between crowdfunding and pre-ordering through your Part-Time Comics website for Depowered, right?
Yeah, so we since I've been back as Part-Time Comics, we've had very good success on Kickstarter, except for Depowered about this time last year, actually. About September last year, we launched, kind of had an aggressive goal. It was our third Kickstarter in a year. Didn't really get there. Tried to do Indiegogo, tried to do a pre-order. Really did not meet the goals we needed to for the book. I'm hoping to relaunch with issue 2 now, coming up soon, as soon as Depowered wraps up. I'm sorry, Drumsticks wraps up here. But we did stumble a little bit, and I'm still confused because we had 127 backers, didn't meet our goal. But I thought, okay, if I can transfer 100 of them over to pre-order, I'll be fine. We can still produce the book, whatever.
Yeah.
We really got 50-ish. So it was just kind of a weird thing. Like you would pre-order through Kickstarter, but not just directly from the site. And that's happened with other things. We had a huge response for Child Possession Services, our first book that we kickstarted for Part-Time Comics. But then when I pre-ordered the digital issue 2, got less than 10 pre-orders. So it's just a very strange world to be in indie comics. Like, we have such great success on Kickstarter, but I really have very limited success outside of that. It's financial. I mean, we get good reviews, we get good response from people, but that end of it and getting people to directly buy the books is still eluding me.
Yeah, well, like we talked about the other night, like there's some campaigns like Jonathan Hedrick, who's a fucking rock star, and on his 5th issue of Capable, which everybody loves, like he was up until the last 48 hours until his campaign funded, right? And like he's got a huge following. And then some of these like Snowpaw will get like 7,200 in a day, or will fund in 24 hours. And so it's weird right now, the campaigns that, like, some people are seeing and some people aren't, and the slow uphill battle, or just the explosive day ones. Like I can't figure it out. I don't know fuck all about marketing or anything like that either, but it's a weird environment right now with Kickstarter, because it's like, some people's finances aren't great, and then the oversaturated market, there's so much out there right now, and you can't back everybody's campaign, or you launch a Patreon and try and raise money.
Well, like Charlie says in the chat here, completely different markets, but also, like you're saying, Blake, sometimes, like, I love author Russell Nolte. He's very knowledgeable. He loves to talk about, stats, and he's big on Excel spreadsheets and things like that. And he's always talking openly about that. But I think we often do forget that, Blake. There's so many factors you can't control. If you launch a book on this day compared to this day, we obsess over those little factors, but it's not, statistically relevant because there's so many factors outside of your control. Like you said, I had 269 backers on Drumsticks of Doom 1, just delivered the book last month. You would think, I'd hit 200-ish backers, right? I mean, you're not going to get a 1-for-1, but you just never know. You don't know where people are at, financially. There's, for God's sakes, some of our friends like Travis at Orange Cone, and right now is in the middle of a freaking hurricane. So
Yeah.
there's political turmoil. There's all kinds of things you can't control whenever you launch a book, whether it be through the direct market or Kickstarter or whatever. You just have to put out the best product you can, try and work on it as hard as you can in the time that you have, and that's all you can really do.
Yeah. I asked you this before, but I think it's an important question with what we're talking about right now. We're talking about Depowered and how like you struggled with that, and then you relaunched it through the website, and you didn't get the numbers you wanted. Like, is it hard? I feel like it wasn't that long after Depowered where you came back with Drumsticks of Doom, and luckily, like, kind of found your audience, and people found this comic and are digging it. But is it like, was it hard to like hop back on the hop back on that train? Like, like with, obviously, I mean, like, and with creatives dealing with like imposter syndrome, and we say things aren't a competition, but it's very easy to get I mean, it happens with me, like when I see other people get like, like look at my YouTube channel and wish I had better metrics and stuff, and it's real easy to like go down that rabbit hole of like, am I good enough, or I'm not good enough, or people are doing things better than me. Was it hard to like hop back on the horse basically, or were you just like, no, fuck it, like this is a good idea and I'm going with it? And because I feel like so many people can like don't deal with failure well, right?
Yeah,
and
I mean,
maybe abandon their dreams.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fortunate. I have a spouse who works. I have a decent employment. I'm doing okay. So, the financial recovery from, paying artists for Depowered will come in time. I'm confident in it. But it wasn't easy. But I also I had a plan in place for other books, and including Drumsticks of Doom. So that's kind of why I hesitated to relaunch. I didn't want to launch them back to back.
Okay.
And I think that was honestly a mistake. I probably should have just launched a short, re Kickstarter for Depowered, recovered what I could, got the book out there, and then, rolled into issue 2. So I do think some of that was, I was feeling it a little bit. I was like, all right, I had some early success coming back. And now I've kind of stumbled, in late in year 1 here with Part-Time Comics. It wasn't easy. I've had some failure in the past, though. This is, my 13th or 14th Kickstarter or crowdfunding campaign. So I've had others that have failed or barely funded, or, I had to have family members pitch in or things like that,
Yeah.
So I've had some struggles in the past, and I think that that's helped. But, it was just about, stepping back, putting it in perspective, saying, this isn't over. We've had a stumble here. There's certainly worse things in life right now. At the time we were in the middle of a pandemic, and I was grateful that most of my family was healthy, and everybody's doing well. Again, financially, I could take the hit on it, so I wasn't stressed that my wife was going to leave me or anything. So once I kind of got through that phase of saying things aren't so bad, it's just delaying this plan right now. Let's get back on the horse. But I didn't want to delay. I knew Drumstick was a different animal, so I had to treat that differently, because my name doesn't really mean anything in the comics community. A little bit. I mean, I have some, followers from previous campaigns, but by and large, I knew it was about the product. So Depower is a very different product, and Drumsticks, I was very confident in. You know what? This will probably be a better book to kind of, get going, and then we can reconsider Depowered, and Depowered issue 2 will be coming in the next 3 months. So we'll be back for that.
Yeah, because it was a great comic. Like it kind of shocked me that that's how I met you and started talking to you. Was you were on Kevin and Will's show.
Yeah.
talking when Deep Howard was up, and or actually I think because I pre-ordered that on your website that night when I saw you on there, because the chicken nugget comment. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like,
and you were like, I can't do it. And I was like, oh, I gotta give this guy some money.
This guy's so pathetic.
he just wants to like talk Magic the Gathering, and then I have him on my show and make him relive all his past failures. But no, I'm stoked to see like the success that Drumsticks of Doom is having. I thought the first issue was amazing, and it was so wonderful. And I, like you mentioned, like the numbers on that were, because it's crazy to me to think of people that have read that first issue that don't want the second one, or like hesitant to back this new campaign, because like I mean I was waiting for it, because it's a hell of a cliffhanger. There's a great mystery. I want to know more of what's going on. I want to know more of this, like of this world where like rock or metal music has opened the gates of hell, and now like reality and reality and hell have like mixed, and it's this like normative kind of space now for everybody. Also, I really apologize to all our listeners about this fucking cricket in my room. It's driving me crazy. God damn it. It's like, anyways, I'm sorry. But
Blake, I'm sorry. I'd have to go.
Oh, it's okay. No, I know it's getting late. Mog, this was so great to talk to you. Like seriously, I respect your art. So it's so good. It's so crazy good.
Yeah.
Real, where do we find you on the internet and keep track of you?
Oh, it's very simple. It's my name, Mog Park. I keep it simple.
Nice.
Instagram, Facebook. You got it, man.
All right. We can do that. Everybody follow her. Check out the new Kickstarter. The art is absolutely glorious. You will not regret it. Mog, thanks for spending your Wednesday night hanging out with us. I appreciate you.
You know, Blake, thank you. You're such a sweetie. You're like a teddy bear. An angry teddy bear. But I like
you are very welcome. Anytime you want to come back, you're welcome. Anytime.
Okay. John, it was nice meeting you.
Metal.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
We chased them all away. Finally,
got rid
John.
of the chaff. Get them out of here. Dead weight.
It's time for the boys.
Now it's time for Magic the Gathering 101.
Yeah.
First,
all right,
play
now
one land per turn.
I was going to ask you, are you reading do you read the Magic the Gathering comics, the new Boom stuff they're doing?
I have never read any. And, I've heard it's a mixed bag, but I've heard some of the older ones are pretty cool.
Really?
Maybe I'll do some bin diving to find some of the older ones, but I have never read any.
Yeah,
and I do like the lore of it. I've heard good things about the novels and read some snippets online.
Oh, there's novels too?
Oh, yeah. I think now they've pretty much made it into shorter, like web-based stories, because they probably don't want to pay an actual novelist to write it anymore. But I've heard some good things in the past, and I like the lore when I do read up on it, or watch YouTube videos about it and stuff. It is a really cool story.
It's odd to me, like how, because I was in like 5th and 6th grade was when like it came out and was like real popular when for me, like when it first started coming out and everybody was obsessed with it. And like, when there were still like Toys R Us's around, and you could, like, we went to Toys R Us to buy like the booster packs and the starter decks and stuff. The first one I bought when my buddy got me into it was an Ice Age deck builder pack. Or I like the basic deck Ice Age pack, and then I ended up, I sold all my cards. I probably had, I didn't have a ton, but I had quite a few, and I sold them all for $20 to this kid in 8th grade, because I didn't play anymore, and he was real into it, and I was like, I don't know, I had $20, and he paid me in fucking quarters.
Nice.
Like I remember that. Like I gave him this huge box of Magic the Gathering cards, and he paid me $20, and they weren't rolled. Like they just handed me, they pulled out this like Ziploc bag of quarters.
Hit you over the head with it.
It's like, put him in a sock and beat me. But yeah, it's I haven't read the comics either, and I probably should, because like Boom sends them to me every month, and but I don't get to read all this stuff every, like, there's just too much shit. But I do know, like, Rich Douek is about to start working on the new, like, I think him and Jed McKay are going to be writing the new, they're like relaunching it.
Nice.
And I was like, man, that's some pretty good
They
writers.
were supposed to
on
finally
that.
have an animation show on Netflix, and I don't know where that's at, but I mean, it
Yeah.
seems like it'd be so easy. I mean, again, the story's already written. It seems like it'd be an easy sell for, especially for, like, an anime style show, and they haven't done it yet. I don't know what Hasbro's thinking.
We got Hagar's Horribles is in the house. What's it saying? Hey, good to have you, sir.
Hey,
Doing pretty good. We've chased the crowd away, and
got rid of the dead weight. Now it's just the real folks talking.
let's see, Sarah. That's how I'm with DMD. I suck at the game. See, I really want to try playing D&D. Like, it sounds like fun. It seems fun to me. And there was a guy at work who was kind of trying to get a deal together, and then I ended up, like, it's hard for me because I'm doing like interviews all the time and shit. So it's like I got to find time.
Yeah.
But some of my other
D&D is
buddies were
hard.
doing they were
It
doing
takes a long time, and it takes forever to get people together, and
yeah.
Magic the same way.
There's a great meme out there that's like, everybody thinks they have friends until you try and play Dungeons and Dragons. But yeah, it seems cool. And I know some of my friends, when the pandemic was real hard, like in the scary times when you're like scared to fucking breathe the air and people were like fucking spraying down the mail before they touched it. Some of my friends were doing, like over Zoom playing Dungeons and Dragons. And I was like, man, that looks cool. And but yeah, it's interesting to me, and I love fantasy, and I love the lore is, again, like, I agree with you. It's super intriguing.
I read comics, watch movies. You see all this shit behind me, and play Magic, and I just never sat down to play D&D. I was like, I don't know, like, people are maybe, because it's like the acting part, like, was kind of embarrassing to me, but you don't have to get that serious into it. But I don't know. I had friends who played, and I just never did. Now I'm 41, and I guess I need to.
Now it's too late for
you. Well, we could start, Blake's Dungeon Live. We could do a.
Yeah.
You could get. I'm sure if you just asked amongst the comics community.
Oh yeah, I bet it'd be. Well, maybe we say that then like when I'm like, hey, let's do a live stream. Let's get some comic pros together and do a live stream Dungeons and Dragons, and like nobody. Be like,
I have buddies who do every Sunday a Pathfinder is what they play, which is similar, but. Yeah, they've been doing it forever. And it's like you said, it's online, so they have their map on the screen, so that's kind of cool. And people play on Twitch, and that's fun, Yeah, just never got into it.
Yeah, I mean, for a long time, I thought it was, which is weird because it was when I was like playing video games and stuff all the time, and I love RPGs, right? And like JRPGs and like turn-based shit, like I could, like, I love, that was my jam, and I just, like, it never really clicked. Hey, we're happy to have you here now, though, baby. Like, you can always tune in. Tuning in late's better than tuning in never. And you can, tomorrow you can rewatch it all again if you want. But yeah, I'm the same, man. It never really clicked. And then, of course, like, now that I want to, it's like, no, it's like nowhere, right? It's like, now I'm like begging for scraps, and everybody's like, oh, I'm busy. But yeah, I agree with back when you were talking about Magic the Gathering, like, because it's crazy because we've had like Dungeons and Dragon movies. We got a new one coming out with fucking Chris Pine that looks amazing.
Yeah,
and yeah, it's so weird that, like, no, like, there's comic books and novels, like no movie, no anime or anything like that. And yeah, it's not going anywhere. Like I said, like, it's been around for decades, and it has stayed popular with new expansions, and that they even did the Dungeons and Dragons. Like, they've crossed over with Dungeons and Dragons now because there's like the booster packs and special stuff. Like,
yeah,
I don't even understand. I don't get how that works. Like, is it just like characters from Dungeons and Dragons?
They really just took like names and characters and then put magic mechanics to it. They've done it with a couple things. They're going to do a Lord of the Rings one finally.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Shit.
They're gonna do a whole set for it. Yeah, which people have mixed feelings about, but it's like Magic itself was always set up as a multiversal, story, they could go anywhere and cross over with anybody. So I don't know why people. I think it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm sure I would think. I think that sounds rad. I'm not like I love Lord of the Rings. I'm not like a huge like I can't I haven't read all the novels yet. I remember in grade school, my English teacher read us all The Hobbit. We had like a story time for like a couple weeks in like the middle of the
years
day.
to finish.
Yeah, but it was cool. Like it was dope because like she like would turn out the lights and then we'd all like get comfortable and she would read, for 30 minutes or so a day, The Hobbit. And like that's how I experienced the Hobbit. And then, again, I got older and these movies came out and I was like, whoa. And so I would like to read those one day. I read so fucking slow, man. Like prose, like comics, I can eat them up, but like when I start reading prose, like I'm like, all these words.
Yeah,
it's
me
like
too.
it makes me feel dumb, which is weird. I used to be in grad school. I used to study literature.
I'm one of those people too. Like I have a hard time retaining it because I read so slow. And then it took me a year to finish the Lord of the Rings, but I did finally. But yeah, nice. I'm not much of a prose reader because of that, but I do need to read more, and I do need to read The Hobbit.
It's good. And I'm doing my first audiobook right now, which is actually cool, but last night I fell asleep for about 45 minutes and I didn't realize I fell asleep. Like it just felt like I kind of was like, and then I realized I'm like chapter 7. What happened to like 5 and 6? And so it's just, so like, cause I'll like sit there like listening, right? And then I'll like close my eyes and like kind of like imagine stuff, and it's like really cool. And then I'm like, but yeah, so I am trying to read because I love reading. Obviously, it's like all I do, but I don't get the chance to read many novels and stuff anymore. It's just it's all comics and interview prep and all that good stuff. So
that's okay.
Yeah.
Comics are great.
They're
literature too.
They're totally. I'll die on that hill forever. I think we're finally approaching that mentality. Well, there's still some people that are like, it's not really reading, but fuck them and their families. Right? Shame.
I mean, it's really what kept me reading. I mean, I'm grateful that my grandmother took me to the shop, and then my mother continued to after that. I love the comic medium.
Yeah, it's
obviously
amazing. Well, yeah, like you're in it in all sorts of ways, which is why you're dealing with my bullshit again tonight for Drumsticks of Doom, which is again just $440 left. You're so close per Kevin Joseph. You're funded, like his like Kickstarter math theory, like once you hit like over 50% and there's a certain amount of days left, you're like you're golden. But yeah, like don't get out there and back this campaign, folks. Like he's waited long enough. Just let him finish. Just over a week left. Just let him finish it and sleep.
Yeah, and then the book's almost done. Dan's wrapping up the last few. I was actually lettering it right before you called because you were praising my lettering last time we spoke, so I felt like that was what I needed to do. So yeah, I mean, we're hoping to deliver it. Like I can get it to print like right after.
Nice.
This campaign closes on October 7th. So again, I tried a little bit of a shorter campaign because those longer ones, there's a lot of dead weeks in between. Yeah. So this time we shortened it. So I did kind of anticipate this was the way it goes. And like Kevin was saying, usually once you get past 50-60%, you kind of chip away, and then the last few days you get your last. So most of the time, barring some catastrophic event, we should be pretty good. I always set the goal a little bit lower just so we make it. So of course, if anybody wants to throw in any extra nickels, we still have only 15 metal covers left. I think we've had 10 backers so far for that. So there's only going to be a few of those. We've only got 15 of the Kaylin Smith covers. You can see behind me. Those from the first campaign are almost gone. We got a limited amount of picks and stickers and things like that. And once they're gone, they're gone. So get in there, get that swag.
Yeah. Are you giving away actual, or not giving away? Obviously, you gotta buy them. Are you doing actual drumsticks, or was that just like in the picture?
It's just in the picture. I have not done the drumsticks. I did look at pricing for them. They're a little expensive. I could just do sign sticks I have laying around. I wanted to do with the logo printed, but it's a little. I'm still thinking of it. I think with the trade, that's going to be like the special item for the trade. Like
Nice.
Because then, they're going to be a bitch to ship because, a drumstick is about 16 inches long. So that was part of the reason I didn't do them either. But I think, with the trade, since I'm going to be shipping a bigger book, hopefully after issue 3 or so, we'll be able to get onto the trade, and then we can do that. Because, a lot of people have asked about those. Oh, it'd be cool.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, it would be cool. But yeah, I did the shipping part didn't even click I always forget that, because it's like, you don't think about what can fit in a mailer.
Exactly.
And then,
if they would fit like diagonal in a Gemini mailer, it'd be perfect, but they just don't. They're too big, and then it fucks it up how you fold in. So I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm sure there's like a bigger size I can get just to kind of pack them in there nicely, rather than doing like a big box, But if it's only a few backers, we can figure it out. It's just like prints. Like prints are so obnoxious to ship. I just don't even do them anymore.
How would you do to put like the logo and stuff on them? Like,
so there are companies that do it, and again, that's you're talking about like $10 a stick, which is a lot. And so I was trying to look into like creating a stencil to like spray paint it on there.
Oh.
So, but the stick is curved, so that kind of makes it kind of sloppy. So I'm working with a buddy who does some like screen printing to see if he can help me figure that out. How to do it myself.
I love this commitment to the custom drumstick. I love that about you. I feel like there's a lot of people that would be like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Nope, too hard. Fuck that. And you're like, no, man, we tried to stencil didn't work. I'm taking wood burning classes. We may just individually do these.
Oh, that's a good idea.
My sister and her friend my sister's got this new best friend, and she's cool, and they do wood burning. And so like
nice.
My sister made this, my dad's obsessed with the Chiefs too. And he's got like this Chiefs room that's like my nerd shit, but all Kansas City Chiefs trinkets and shit. And she made him this, like, he saves, like, you remember those gold dollars? Mm-hmm. Like the little gold coin dollars? Yeah. My dad buys, like, has like 1,000, like $1,200 worth of them. Because he's like, you can't spend them, right? And really, or you can, but like you don't.
It's like obnoxious. That's so he's gonna pay for your Magic the Gathering cards.
Yeah. But she made him this like Kansas City Chiefs treasure chest to put his gold coins in, and she like wood burned the logo on there, and I was like,
that's sick. I should look into that for the drums. That might work though.
Yeah,
but again, it's curved, so I'd have to kind of just make sure I have like a curved piece of. But that's not a bad idea. But yeah, I mean, I live for that stuff. Like Rob was showing with his trade, like. If you can control it yourself reasonably, I mean, you can't go broke doing this stuff, but that you should have fun doing that kind of stuff, right? Like you only get one shot at this. I'm only doing this book for so long. I might as well have fun with the campaigns and do some cool stuff, because I keep like a little piece of each swag that I make, and I want to, I could do T-shirts and other stuff like that, and that is fun, but to do like the unique things, like the guitar picks are cool, even though obviously
they're super dope.
I
do not
theme of the
guitar.
book. I shouldn't be doing guitar picks, but they're too cool to pass up,
Yeah, I'm stoked for those. And like I used to play bass a little bit, but I mean, even I never picked, right? I was a finger strummer, and but yeah, like once I saw those picks, I was like, I gotta have one. Like, and I use everything as a bookmark, right? Like the metal playing cards and stuff I get, like all this stuff. I'll put it in an omnibus because I read like 10 fucking books at the same time. You had picks in the first one?
Mm-hmm.
I must have missed that.
Yep.
I was so distracted with the Maria Wolf variant. I was just like, done, back now.
That's all right. Yeah, it was an add-on too. Like, yeah, that's what I've done with the picks and the stickers, but maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should make it a tier to make it clearer to people.
To dummies like me who don't read. I'm so bad about that. Like when when I know you guys are about to launch, and when I know it's coming, like I'm really bad, like, because I get like the phone notifications, because I'm pretty good about signing up for the pre-launch stuff, and I'll get that, and I always want to. I don't think I've ever gotten to be like the first backer on anything. And so I always like scramble, right? And then I just like get like the first digital or the first like tier or like the early bird or something. And then I'll notice later, and I'll be like, oh, I missed this like poster or this other cool thing. I go through, like, I'm so bad about, it's like I get too antsy. I'm like ready to go. And
Well, it's hard too. Like when you look at like a campaign like Rob's, where you've got 800 tiers and 500
Oh my
covers, it's like it's almost overwhelming at that
Yeah.
point. So I'll do that too. Like just get your back in, and then come back later.
Yeah.
Pick what you want, because then Oh, thanks. It looks like Sarah increased her. Not to call her out, I shouldn't do that. But thank you. We appreciate the extra support. We'll throw some extra items in there for you.
Sarah's good people.
We're chipping away. We're chipping away.
When they were on the show, I was up till I was pretty lit too, but we were up till like 2 o'clock in the morning just talking after the show, and I was getting tired, and I was like, I wanted, I was like, I enjoying the conversation, but I'm like, after about when it was like a little almost at like 2 o'clock in the morning, I was like, someone's got to go to bed, like someone's got to tell me, like, I'm sorry guys, I gotta go.
I was surprised Mog said that. I thought she was gonna hang in there. She seemed like she was too polite to say, I gotta get the F out of here.
Well, everybody says that because they're like, I'm like, it's Wednesday night. My day job, I work late. So like I work till 7. And so like, I gotta like set up after work, and I kind of like to like get the day job grossness off of me before I, like get ready to be in a good mood. And like, so it, I have to start the show a little later anyway. And then I know like time zones and shit. And like, but I always tell people, I'm like, if you got to go, like, just let me know. Like people could, and I've noticed that when I've been on other live streams, like people will come and go. And that's kind of like the deal. Like, I'm not trying to do those like 4 or 5 hour ones. It was fun. I was on the Comic Burrito guys the other night, and they had like, I stayed on the whole time, and like, I was fucking hammered. And then like midnight, like these other comic book pros are like popping in, and they're like, oh, what's up guys? I'm like, what the fuck is going on? This is crazy. But yeah, that was like a 4 or 5 hour deal. And it was me and David Hazan hung out, and David's fucking eating cereal, like, cause he's in Australia. So it's like, it's like early in the morning. So he's like eating breakfast while we're all, and then like, I didn't say anything for a while, and everybody thought I pulled a Hulk artist and passed out because I had my glasses on. I was like, no, I'm still awake. Fuck you. This is like, but yeah, like live streaming is like totally, it's different. And I don't know, like I've some of those people do like those like 24-hour streams for like charity and shit. Like, I don't know if I've thought about trying to do something like that. But like,
a lot of the Magic guys I watch, I mean, that's, they're playing the game online, or they're, chatting with chat. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think I could do anything like that for 24 hours. I'd be dead for like a week after.
Yeah, it's hard to stay up late. Like last week when I did the 3 live streams in a row and then the interview, I was legit worried when I interviewed Sally Canarino. I was like, man, I hope I don't come off as like tired and lame. And then she had me cracking up, like that was a great talk. But it's like, man, you don't realize how it's I don't want to say exhausting, because it's not exhausting, but to be like upbeat and like excited, and then like all the time. You're gonna be like on it for like 2 hours, and then you get done, and then I just like when I get like I'll get off the air and I'll go in, like find something to eat, and I'm just like sitting there, and it's even worse when I drink, like that's why I kind of, that's fucking cricket, man. I'm can't believe this cricket. This is unreal. But yeah, so anyway, it's weird, but I like it. I love doing the podcast, but I don't know, like this is cool. And now I'm gonna do, now like with the Patreon, I'm gonna be doing another show eventually. Please, like I got to do something on that soon. But but I just got my news intro music for the comic book news show and stuff, and like I don't know. I'm just here. I'm not going anywhere. I just got to be online all the time.
You always got all this stuff. Then the next week you're like, I got too much stuff. I need to do less stuff. And then you do more. And
then I keep doing more stuff. I don't like. Some people do stuff every day, like the daily, like, because what they say, like, to make it, you got to do like the daily content. Yeah. And I mean, like. So it's hard. Like I'm surprised I wrote 2 reviews this week. Like that shocked me.
That's a lot. Yeah. You burn yourself out, but you are doing something indifferent, and I think that's key to diversify. What you do will keep you more engaged. Because if you were just like, all right, I got to stream again. All right, I got to stream again. Then it's not as fun, and it should be fun, especially at this phase.
Yeah.
You know, when you're just, you know, when you're starting out and it's not, you know, your income stream or anything. Like, if this
Yeah.
isn't fun, then why do it? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, well, and if it wasn't fun, like I don't think people would want to listen because you genuine people like I mean I'd have a hard time talking to anybody for 2 hours if I and acting excited if I wasn't excited, you know, like, and I've seen streams like that and they have fucking better numbers than I do. And they're like, they're just on there and they're like, yeah, you know, this is a good comic, right? Check out this cover here. Like, God, get excited, get loud, get weird. Like, so, you know, I'm like, fuck. But yeah, I don't know. It's fun. I never, like I said, I never thought I would do this when someone first asked me to be on a podcast. They said that I told them part of it was I talk on the phone all day, but I also was like, no one cares what I think. And my buddy was like, you're stupid. He was like, and this was like years ago. Like I didn't have the big Twitter following. I didn't, you know, no one fucking knew who I was. And I used to do one tweet reviews on Twitter, and I'd read a comic and try and like cram a quick review and tag all the creators I could. And that was like my deal. And then they were like, well, you know, da 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 da. But yeah, I for a long time I thought no one would give a shit what I had to say, and
here you are.
Yeah, here I am. Turns
By the way,
out people like what I have
this
to
have
say.
been in the post show? Should you have ended the stream an hour ago?
When everybody else left, I don't know. Fuck it.
Yeah,
this is what this. I mean, we got people watching. I was, you know, yesterday was the first day.
The ones that hang in.
Yeah,
the
the OGs, the Sarah Landauers that up their pledges and get called out. It called out in the best way though.
Real hurt.
But yeah, yesterday when the live stream started for Dream Quest, no one was in the fucking because it shows you like how many people here, and it was like the first time that it was ever zero, and I was like, oh no. I was like, what is? I was like, but after like a few minutes, people started popping in, but that was like the first like. I was like, oh fuck! Like it felt weird. It was not a pleasant feeling. Listeners, don't ever make me feel like that shit. I was nervous.
Watch.
But yeah, it is. I know it is getting late. And John, I could talk to you forever. I fucking love you, dude. And I'm down to try magic one time. You'll have to tell me what to buy. I don't even know what to buy.
I'll mail
anymore.
you some stuff.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
I'll mail you a deck.
But so real quick, Drumsticks of Doom is live for 8 more days. You have gotten more backers. You're at 155 now. Got almost at 3,600. That's dope. And I'm just I want this to keep going, man, because when you told me you have like this is like a long-term deal you want going on, like I need so much more of this world. And I used to not like black and white art, and now I'm like super into manga and stuff, but like I don't want colors in this book. There was a time where I was like, man, I wonder what this would be like with colors, but I really like the black and white. I hope you stick with that. And it's cheaper.
Oh, we're definitely
cheaper.
it's definitely saving on the budget, but it definitely, Dan's art it's so good. It just fits the story so well. I've done other stories in black and white. I have no problem with it. I was the same. You know, I really started doing black and white in my first series with my buddy Bob Gard because, you know, it was cheaper. We didn't want to go through the time. We just wanted to see. And I just love black and white line. It's something about comics in that, you know, you kind of fill in the colors and everything.
Yeah. You really
mind,
get to appreciate the line work. Yeah.
Thanks, Jordan. We appreciate it. But yeah, it looks like Snow Paws is going up. It's going to be another Blake Spud success, hopefully by tomorrow morning.
You can make me feel guilty about that tomorrow.
So back that. And then if you're going to buy a second book, go to your shop, tell them to order Corollary from SourcePoint Prints. Then if you're going to back a third book, then you can get Drumsticks of Doom. So please, it's got 8 days. It ends at 9 p.m. Central on October 7th. So that's next Friday. And we appreciate everybody. Again, if you can't back, as we always say, in the indie community, share may go even further than a back in the end. So, you know, share it on your favorite social media. Tell a friend, tell an enemy, whoever, tell a heavy metal fan that there's this sweet heavy metal comic out there with the great art from Dan Doherty and awesome covers by Kelly Williams, Matt Festa, Maria Wolf, Kaylin Smith. We've had some amazing cover artists.
And remember to defeat the algorithm. Don't say go, click, or like in the tweet.
Yep.
Post the
words.
link outside of the tweet. Make an alt Twitter account like I did to post the link into the thread.
If you want to do all that, do that. Otherwise, just post it and move on with your life. But yeah.
The fucking
Who
algorithm.
is this algorithm you talk about? Is he in the room with us right now?
He probably is. He probably is. Yes, share, support the small. They do deserve it. They work hard. The Kickstarter crowdfunding is so amazing, but it's so much more work on the creatives. And
I mean, even from where my first one back as Part-Time Comics in January 2020 to now, like, just you can feel it, like on Twitter, like you cannot, like, people will respond to my tweet, a random tweet, and then I post a link or anything like you said with those buzzwords, and it just gets squashed. Every 6 months it seems like they find more of a way to try and get your advertising dollars, and it's really just killing us right now.
Yeah, I don't understand it. I'm basically now having conversations with myself in my alt Twitter when I post for Kickstarters. And it might be working. I don't know if it's
and I repost so many people's links that they just probably have me on the ultimate blacklist. They're like, don't share anything he says, because that's all he does. But that's fine. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll defeat the Matrix one day. One of us.
Thanks for having me on John's Jams Live again.
John's Jams Live, baby.
Blake. We'll be back in 2 weeks.
Hey man, for real. Anytime. I love talking to you. And then folks that hung out with us for over 2 hours tonight, thank you so much. For people that backed while you were listening, thank you so much. For our guests that left early, I understand it. I'm long-winded, and I get it. People need to sleep, but I really do have a great time on these Wednesday night shows, and it's always something to look forward to, and I'm not going anywhere, and I hope you all keep coming back. And on that note, love more, hate less, read comics, be nice to each other, read cool books. Back Drumsticks of Doom, baby. You won't regret it. It's Blake's Buzz Live.